Listen to the best wrestling podcast in the world. Journey into Wrestling every other Wednesday on the Journey into Comics Network.
The following
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
It's a Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics
Network
Production.
I'm a dude who likes brews. It's time for Brews with Dudes. Juicy.
Good evening, good afternoon, or good night, depending on when you're listening to this. And welcome to another episode of Brews with Dudes. I'm your host, Nick Maxson, sitting here once again with Casey Taylor from the North End Pub.
How are we doing this evening?
We're doing pretty good. It was just around this time last year that I printed a bunch of merch for an event we had, and I called it the North Side Pub. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, which is
They were
incorrect.
They were nice pint glasses, but I totally got it wrong. So I make a point to say it very slow so I don't make the mistake again. This is going to be a very special episode. We've got some very special dudes with us tonight. The ladies from Girls Pint Out. Did I get that right?
You did, yes.
Got that.
Awesome. So I've got dual Heathers with me. We've got two Heathers. And then I did not catch your name yet. Oh, you're the Heather.
I'm the Ashley.
There's the Ashley. Okay,
Yes.
So we've got two Heathers, Ashley, a Nick, and a Casey.
I
Yes.
promise this won't end like Heather's.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
So let's dive into the first beer, and then we can do some. We can dive into what you guys are all about. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
You gals, you dudes.
I'm
All
from
right.
the region. I say guys, too.
Yeah,
Yes. I mean,
guys, it's
collective.
dude. It's a universal thing.
Mhm.
All right, so let's get in on this. Cheers.
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 Oh,
I do that about half the time.
I-
You cheers and then put it on the table.
Tap the table. I mean, I
I
feel
don't know
like
what
it's
it's
only
about,
right.
but I do it. But
Yeah.
I do it. Which one are we diving into?
Cream ale.
The cream ale. Oh, I guess we should also mention, we're just so excited to drink the beer that we're forgetting to talk about the beer.
Yeah.
So tonight we're doing we asked the ladies, we wanted to do an event with you, and we asked you guys what brewery you wanted to do, and you ladies chose Sun King.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you choose Sun King?
There is a woman brewer at Sun King, so we really wanted to have an event where we're sampling beer that's brewed by another lady.
Celebrating ladies tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They actually was funny because do you know her?
I don't know her, but she's actually done an event with our Indianapolis chapter.
It was funny because the rep that stopped in earlier told me that they had an event and they had to come up with a beer for it and do the breast cancer aspect of it. They made a pink beer, and it was funny because she was almost mad because she was like a badass rocker chick and was like, I want something dark.
Yeah.
And then she produced like a pink beer, and everyone was like so excited, and she kind of wasn't. So it was
I
kind of a
remember
funny
seeing
story.
that. They got a bunch of, which is really cool. They got a bunch of lady brewers
Brewers.
from around the state.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. I remember seeing the picture. How many
It
different?
looked awesome. It really did for the color and stuff. It looked awesome, but it was just a funny little story about that.
It feels weird asking, but it seems like it's somewhat male dominated in terms of it. But I remember seeing that picture, and there were so many ladies just in Indiana. How many ladies got in on that? I feel like there was 20 or 30.
There were a lot. I didn't actually go to that event. I'm not sure, but I also saw the pictures, and
Yeah.
there were quite a few. And I know
awesome.
that our friend and Lafayette Girls Pint Out member Michelle from Crasian, she was actually
Yeah.
involved in that as well.
She's such a nice lady.
She's fabulous.
We're trying to get them on. I went in there when they first opened, and we just sat down and we're talking for a little bit, and it didn't take 5 minutes before she's like, do you want to go check out the equipment? I'm like, well, yes, of course I want to go check out the equipment. Yeah. So, Girls Pint Out. You mentioned that there is an Indianapolis chapter, so that makes me think that this is a large network. So tell us a little more about it.
I should stop nodding at you and start talking into the microphone because
It's okay.
your listeners can't see me nodding. Yes, actually, Girls Pint Out started in Indianapolis, but is now nationwide. There's oh gosh, is it like 125
Oh,
chapters
over
now?
100, yeah.
Yeah, more than
Oh my
100
gosh.
chapters.
It started in Indianapolis.
It started in Indianapolis. So we're very
Wow.
fortunate in that we still get to work with that chapter on things, and we can go to their events. They have a very well-established group there. We're only 2 years old. So
awesome. That is so cool.
there's a really great resource for us as chapter heads. We can look at all the materials they've used over the years, all of their event ideas. It's very helpful to be this close to kind of home base.
Yeah.
And we are a 501c3, which not a lot of
Okay.
people know. So we're a nonprofit organization. The main chapter out of Indianapolis got that status, and we as kind of sister organizations share that as well. So part of our mission is to raise money and, not just money, but help out causes in the area. So like
Yeah.
our holiday event last year was we gathered money for the YWCA, because that's kind of a
Yeah.
parallel
That's awesome.
organization. Yeah.
Very cool.
And as a state chapter, we are also sponsored by Sun King. So
Thanks, Sun King.
Yes, thank you.
Very
So
cool.
they give a little bit of money to each chapter to kind of help us go in and support us.
That is so cool.
It's good knowledge.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, ladies doing big things. Let's see here. So, I think we're all ready for the next beer, aren't we?
WeMac.
I was about to start drinking it, and I'm like, no.
We really didn't talk about the cream ale though.
We
Oh,
didn't.
man,
Yeah.
it is a
We gotta talk
classic.
about
We
the
are
cream ale. That is like
failing
their,
right
one of
now.
their main beers, right? That they're kind of famous for.
Yeah.
That I feel like most people are used to.
One of
Or,
their year-rounds.
yeah.
There were a lot of years where this was the beer I took to my parents' 4th of July party to introduce everybody to what
Yes.
craft beer can be, because it's a
Yes.
really nice, it's a really well-made beer, and it's a really nice transition beer as well for people who are just used to drinking domestic lagers.
Absolutely.
It was my first. So it was my first. Yeah. So it was kind of downtown. There was Avidity. That used to be
Oh,
downtown
yeah.
where Digby's is now.
Yep.
And
place.
so I would go in there, and that was one thing that was suggested to me to try when I wanted to start getting into beers. Had just gone to like my first Beers Across Wabash and had been introduced to. So it was the first full pint of craft beer that I had had.
Nice beer.
Yes.
Heather, do you like the cream ale?
I do like the cream ale, and I agree it's a great beer to introduce to your non-craft drinking friends, and pretty safe to keep in your fridge at all times.
Yeah.
No, I like that because if you do certain beers and someone's trying to expand out and you give them a palate crusher, it's over for them. Every time they go try a new beer, they're going to remember that. So I
Make
agree.
that
This
mistake.
this is a good beer for people that question craft beers and don't think they'll like them. It's a perfect one, and it's only 5.3%, which
That's not bad.
no,
It's an all-day drinker.
yeah,
Yep.
crushable.
Very crushable. So we're getting into the WeMac now. What is the WeMac? A brown?
Scottish
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 ale.
ale.
Okay. All right, let's get into it. Cheers.
Cheers.
To all you and to everyone at home. This usually airs at noon, so if you're cheersing with us at noon,
Good for
bravo.
you.
Well
That's all
done.
you. It's very awesome. We'll be cheersing at noon here next week when we go to 450 North's Corn Maze Beer Fest. That's going to be exciting. We are tentatively taking a bus down there. So we'll leave, we'll get down there, and then we'll get DD'd back to Lafayette. That's going to be great.
Barring they find a driver.
Well, we don't need to get into that right now. Thanks, Lafayette. Yeah, I went last year.
It was
and
hot last year, so
hot.
hopefully.
And they specifically, when I talked to one of them, they're like, we made sure we moved it back a couple weeks, and I think it's going to be beautiful because it's been really nice lately. I discovered so many weird beers there. I remember Zwanzigs, and everything about them sticks out. Their name, their beers. So yeah, I'm excited to go back. Are any of
Casey
you
and
ladies going?
I am not, but Casey and I were talking about Zwanzigs earlier. Oh, man, their
So
beer
good.
and their pizza.
Pizza.
Yes.
Yes, and then you can stop by Powerhouse out of the Columbus Bar, get yourself some
See, I didn't know
diesel
about
oil
that one.
stout.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're one of the older breweries. They don't distribute a whole lot. You don't see them very often, but they've been around, gosh, at least 10 years.
How many breweries are in Columbus?
I think just the two.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because they got a couple events. They're getting ready to. I keep thinking Hoppy Halloween is there. It's in Plainfield. They're doing the corn maze, and then they do another one earlier in the year. And I think that's
Yeah.
Zwanzig's thing.
Yeah.
Zwanzig's is the one that hosts that. They opened their new facility recently, didn't they?
Zwanzigs?
Zwanzigs.
If they did, I haven't been there. I just go to the restaurant downtown, and I was
Yeah.
there in January.
and I've definitely been since then, but I think I saw a picture that they finally opened the new spot.
Nice.
It's huge.
I have to check that out.
They got a lot of barrels now, so that's very exciting.
That is exciting.
I'm a big barrel age guy. All right, I didn't even drink it yet.
Oh, it's delicious. Don't worry.
I got so caught up.
We're working on it over here.
Yeah, I'm a big Scottish Ale fan, so this is probably before taste. I've had these. I'm very partial to Wee Mac. Another thing, it's 5.3. It's not crazy because like I like Old Chub, but it's like an 8%er, and it's like you can only have X amount of that. And Wee Mac at 5.3, even though it's Scottish Ale, still has a little bit of a lightness to it and some crushability.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say this is my favorite hotel beer in Indiana
Hotel
because
beer.
because Sun King's so widely distributed around our state. They usually carry cans of Wee Mac in hotels I have to stay in for work. Yeah, and it's malty and delicious.
Yes, it is.
Look at Hotel stepping it up, just not making you drink Miller Lite, Bud Light, or
Right.
Coors Light.
Stella used to be my hotel beer. It was the best of the bunch.
We've grown up. We've grown up, guys.
Ashley, your thought?
After the cream ales, I kind of got into darker beers, so that's kind of where I went to next. So that's been the Scottish Ale has been one that I've gone to quite frequently, and really enjoyed it. It has a really nice kind of light aftertaste. You don't get that where you feel like you need to palate cleanse right afterwards. So,
Absolutely.
Heather, what are your suggestions or thoughts about it?
So Scottish ales probably aren't my normal ordering thing, but I find this particular one like very drinkable, so I would never turn it down.
I am right there with you. The Scottish is not my go-to, but it's very tasty. Without being biased, it was Taze where I brew. Their Scottish was fantastic. They do a good job of. They've got a little bit of everything. They've got the amber, the brown, a lager, IPA, and I was very pleased with it. Usually, what is the word I'm looking for to describe it? I don't know. It's just a little too much for me usually. But the Wee Mac,
They can get a little boozy.
yeah, and I guess I'm not a huge fan of that strong boozy flavor.
And some of them can be really sweet, too, on the back end.
Yes.
Like I notice a lot of the Scottish ales, they can be really sweet on the back end. And if you're not into that, you may not like it.
I think that's why I liked it when I was first starting out, getting out of the cream ales and into that. It was still kind of sweet and something to
Yeah, see, I like
tasty.
it.
Yeah.
It's up my alley, so.
Yeah, well, and not the Wee Mac in particular. The Wee Mac's not sweet, but I know what you're talking about. Some of them that get kind of syrupy, and I wonder if it's an incomplete fermentation and it's just too much residual sugar left over. Right, and it's
See, that sounds smart. That sounds like a real explanation.
We went there.
But it works for me. I like that. So whatever that is.
I lost my thought. I had something, and I totally lost it. So what do we got next? We're slamming through these. I guess we're only having the little tiny ones.
Do you want us to introduce ourselves before we get any
Did
further?
we really not get that far?
No, we didn't. We're just talking.
My goodness. We're having fun.
Fun.
We
Yeah,
are. We've got a
fun.
table full of beer.
All
You're
right.
excused in this regard.
I always tell people who've never been on before, I'm like, we only got a couple things that we got to talk about, and then we're going to go loose. And then I come in just swinging like, Rick, you're
Breaking
not
all the rules.
You're not doing the rules that you made up. So, all right. Let's talk, ladies. Tell me all about it.
All right, well, I can start. I'm holding the microphone. So, I'm Heather Howard. I am one of the two chapter heads for the Lafayette chapter of Girls Pint Out. Ashley, who's here with us, is my co-chapter head. We started Girls Pint Out almost 2 years ago exactly because our first event was October of 2016. Yeah, so we're coming up on 2 years, which is pretty exciting.
Very exciting.
I already talked about how we're a 501c3, but we do at minimum monthly events for our ladies. We have happy hours, kind of like we're having here right now. Several times a year we'll do, usually 2 times a year we'll do a co-ed event, and those are oftentimes the ones where we're trying to raise money for a cause. So our Christmas event will be coming up. We usually do that at Lafayette Brew Co. Side note, we need to reach out to Lafayette Brew Co. to get our Christmas event set up this year. But at that particular event, we do a bomber Yankee swap. So everybody brings a wrapped bomber. It's co-ed. You guys are both invited. Watch our Facebook page.
We're going to be there.
Yeah.
It gets real serious.
Oh, it does. At the end of it is real cutthroat.
Yeah.
Right? people bring some very, very interesting beers. A lot of times ladies will bring things they get out of state that you can't get here. So it gets very competitive. It's a lot of fun. And we pick a cause and we raise money or collect items for that cause. So last year, as I mentioned, was the YWCA. We need to talk about what we're going to do this year. So we'll figure that out and let you all know. But we post all our events on our Facebook page. About me personally, aside from Girls Pint Out, I'm also co-owner of Escape Velocity Brewing. We are going to be opening here in Lafayette, and we will be a plant-based brew pub. So.
Is it the first in the state, or is that the first in the area?
It'll be the first in the state. There are some other breweries that serve vegetarian food, but they're in places like Austin and outside of Chicago and things like that. But cool. I think we're hip enough here.
Yeah, I think we can handle it.
Yeah.
You're moving in right over near Columbian Park.
Yeah, we're working on closing on that building right now. So
that's such a good spot. It's right where we were just at a meeting not terribly long ago about them revitalizing that whole area. And they're getting ready to dump a bunch of money in the baseball fields and stuff.
Loeb Stadium. They're going to be doing a bunch of revitalization of the park. And also there are plans to maybe turn the 5 Points area, which is kind of the other end, into an area kind of like Fountain Square in Indianapolis, which would put us right in the middle of the park and that neighborhood. Yeah. So it would be great. Also, it's my neighborhood, so I would be my own neighborhood bar there.
That is my son's grandparents' neighborhood, so I'm already over there enough. So I'm going to be over there way too much now, it seems. There are a couple houses for sale over there. I probably should not be in walking distance of a brewery.
I mean, that's better than driving distance, right?
You're absolutely right.
I can walk home from there in about 6 minutes.
Not problems.
I'm sold.
So my youngest just went to college, so I'm empty nesting, and we need to live in walking distance.
Yeah. So I cheated a little, and I'm halfway through this drink that we haven't even introduced yet. Which one was it? This is the Osiris. This one, it took some growing on me. I wasn't a big fan when I first tried it a couple years ago, but your palate changes a little bit. I'm a fan of it now.
Maybe your palate changes.
Maybe.
Heather's does not. Heather Howard's does not. I should say.
I keep trying to like IPAs. This one's not bad. I can drink this and not be sad about it. If I were mistakenly served this, I would drink it and be fine. Which is high praise for an IPA for me.
Yeah, I very, very rarely can't finish a beer. I just did it recently, though. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't even like... on the label, it said it was beer, but it said it didn't have, like, malt in it. It was, like, gluten-free, and I'm like...
I don't think that's beer.
This don't sound right. And I did not finish that one. So, but, yeah, I'll finish the Osiris. All right, I think, Miss Ashley, you're up.
I am up.
Tell me about yourself.
My name is Ashley Rhoda. I am co-chapter head with Heather Howard. So many Heathers here.
Double Heather Ash.
Yes. So I have been a chapter head about 2 months less than Heather. I went to the first event and had told her how I was traveling to Indy to go to Girls Pint Out events. And she approached me and asked if I wanted to help run the chapter. And, of course, I said yes, and the rest is history.
Here we
so
are.
Here we are almost 2 years later. So
an immediate friendship blossom.
Yes,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Because of beer.
Over beer,
Over beer.
I mean, that's our whole group. It's the whole point of the group.
Yeah.
I know. We're jinxing each other over here. The whole purpose is to develop a community of women who love beer and just getting out and getting friends. And it's hard when you're older to make friends. I'm sure everybody understands.
Well, and craft beer, like you mentioned earlier, it's very male-dominated, and a lot of times women want to learn more about craft beer and get mansplained to or talked down to, or I've had multiple people say, well, this is a lot like a Blue Moon. I think you'd like it. Oh, do you?
You don't know
All
me.
Right? Yeah, gets real hostile real quick. But, yeah.
Gets real hostile with Heather, and we have to hold her back, and then she orders the darkest beer that they have. So,
because she enjoys it, or because she's proving a point? Maybe both.
I mean, she doesn't. Yes.
Like, a Blue Moon. I'll take this 12%er over here.
Give me your Imperial Stout. It's actually a funny point. Most of our ladies are stout drinkers.
That's awesome.
This has been a surprise to me. I'm a stout drinker, and it's come to pass just throughout all these events. Almost all of our ladies love stouts.
That is my newest thing. I was an IPA guy for probably 2 years, and then I think it was the Nutter Cup from BrewLink. I had that, and then I became porter and stout, and that's what I go for now most of the time. I've been doing the sours too. Are you ladies fans of the sour style beers?
I'm a little on. I can do some. I can't do others. I was in Michigan a year ago or so and went to Brewery Vermont, and they so many sours.
My favorite.
I found some that I liked. There were some that I tried that were not a fan of, but that's why we have options.
I like how some of them aren't I remember the first one I had felt like just a bunch of liquefied warheads. It was like, this is entirely too sour. This isn't even enjoyable.
Oh, that's what I want. The Petrus. The Petrus, if you've had that, is one of their sours are my favorite.
And so that was my first bad experience. But my second sour experience was at Upland's Wood House. I don't know what it's called, but it's an entire.
No, talking about.
Yeah, their sour
building.
facility.
And we got 2 flights. I think there were 6 beers apiece. So there was 12 different sours, and I'm like. And it was right after that, I'm like, they're all definitely different, you know?
I'm not really a sour fan, but I always try to throw one in a flight just to keep trying them.
Right.
But it's not really my thing.
You gotta just keep fighting it, you know? That's what it was with a lot of stouts. Yeah. And I'm still, working on, Russians, like Russian Imperials. I like them, but I'm not to the point where I'm, loving on them. I'm getting there with sours where I'm loving on them. I'm nowhere near it with the farmhouses. We talked about that a little bit.
I'm not a fan of farmhouses.
I don't see it coming. I don't see me enjoying those anytime soon.
It's fair. That's me with IPAs. I keep trying them.
That's good.
I'll
good.
Try them always.
Have you tried the milkshake IPAs? What do you think of those?
I have not.
So they pretty much just add lactose, so it just makes it a little creamier.
I'm not a huge fan of lacto beers, so I don't see that I would like that.
Okay.
Yeah, lacto stouts are my least favorite kind. I mean, I still love if it's a stout, I love it, but
yeah.
We have the Hoosier one back there. I kept a couple that you'll have to try. It's a strawberry milkshake IPA from Hoosier.
See, I'll always give it a try.
It's good. Those, if I have any hidden specialty beers back there right now, I have a couple of those. It was pretty good.
Those were awesome. We walked into the distribution center.
Rhodes Distribution for BrewLink.
They're getting ready. They're walking towards something, and I walk in, and it's like my spidey senses went off. I was like, what is this? And I was like, we need that. We need that right there. And we got quite a bit of it. I think I already... What I took home,
through
it's
it.
gone.
Yeah, we
it's
blew
totally
through
gone.
it. I kept I always, when I buy specialty cases and stuff, I always hide a couple. So just in case.
From yourself, because you can't be trusted.
I share. But for these types of instances where someone's like, I've not had one of those, you're like, we actually have a good one of those. Yeah. So it's nice to actually show someone that's good, if they're trying something, to give them something that's going to go well for them.
I'm just burning a hole in that cup looking at it. Is this
Let's do it.
The grapefruit? Yep.
Cheers.
Grapefruit IPA? Is that what it is? Is it an IPA?
Yes. It is an
awesome.
IPA.
All right. Enjoy.
See, it's the dank smell I don't get into.
That might be the word. Like when I was talking about West Coasts.
Mm-hmm, it is.
Yeah, it's
dank.
like a dank kind of cat piss smell.
I do.
Sorry.
We're not very often family friendly, so no worries.
No, she just saw my judging face because I'm like, I like this,
and I'm gonna hand this to you.
Okay.
Every now and again, when we don't like a beer, we do something called down the drain, and we'll just chug it real quick.
See, I don't want to do that when I know Ashley will enjoy it.
That's a good point. Usually, we have those moments where we'll be splitting a bomber or a 16-ounce can, and we've only got 2 people. So instead of doing these, we're doing an episode where we're drinking 8 ounces at a time, or even more than that.
Those are the ones where you said you just get louder and louder.
We just get louder, and we're just screaming by the end of it, which does happen every now and again. Oh goodness, you told us about upcoming events.
Well, Heather needs to introduce herself too.
I want to hear everything about Heather.
So, I'm Heather Boudreau. I have way less to say than these other 2 ladies. I'm just a member of GPO, so I come as frequently as I can, trying to collect reasons to drink beer, and they give me a good one, so it works out for all of us.
I feel like I'm always looking for an excuse.
Yeah,
always.
It's a good hobby.
It's like, Nick, you've been drinking beer like every day for years now. I'm like, it's a hobby, okay? It's a hobby. Well, goodness. What else do we need to talk about, ladies? I feel like we're just having way too much fun, but we're out of beers to try.
Yeah, we're out of beer, and we're at a beer event.
I know. Upcoming. We got. So you ladies told us about some stuff you've got coming up. Is there anything else you guys are doing?
We don't specifically have things planned yet, but everybody can follow our Facebook page, and we post all of our events there. We have at least one a month.
Awesome.
So.
Cool.
I think we'll probably be doing at least an unofficial event to celebrate Thiem and Wagner.
I just saw that.
Yeah, they posted an event today. They're going to be launching their actual beer because they're brewing now on next Thursday.
That's awesome.
So
we're going to have to get down there.
Yes, I'm very excited.
What was the event? Maybe a Mosey? I was down there for a Mosey, and I snuck in there, and they've had some samples of their beer, have they not?
I'm not sure. We probably shouldn't talk about that because if they did, they probably shouldn't. We'll just. Yep.
Heard around the grapevine that they make good beer. That's all I heard. I'm not exactly sure when this is going to air, so I don't really know about our upcoming events. The Corn Maze will have already passed. We're doing Rocktoberfest, which is an Oktoberfest event where we're going to take over all the taps. Going to have 8 different Oktoberfest beers, and we're going to have a bunch of rock bands
and Stein holding contest.
Ah, yes.
So that should be fun.
I still got to see those Steins.
Yeah, I'm a big Oktoberfest fan, and we've been promised some pretty cool swag. There's some ridiculous hats and about 8 different Oktoberfests.
I'm in for all of that.
Yeah, I'm in for swag and Oktoberfest beers.
Possible lederhose.
Yeah, we heard about the lederhosen, so we're kind of excited about that.
See if I can find a Drindle.
Goodness.
I would say those are the main ones coming up: Corn Maze and Oktoberfest.
We got some T-shirts coming.
Yep, Brews With Dudes T-shirts.
Those are going to be sweet. We're not at liberty to discuss it, but we're working on a big idea. We're going to do a big fun event here sometime next year. What else? We are going to have a Brews With Dudes beer for the Halloween show that we're doing down at the pub. I've been home brewing for years. I started working at Taze River, and I finally asked him. I finally got the courage to say, hey, man, can we brew one of my recipes? So we're going to brew one of my recipes, and we're going to use that beer to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the podcast. So
nice. We'll have to come check it out.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm pretty excited. It's going to be a coffee stout. So.
And I can give an unbiased view that Taze River brews delicious
beers.
beers.
There we go. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and that Scottish is solid.
Oh, yeah.
Oktoberfest. Had my first Oktoberfest yesterday.
That was pretty good.
That was good.
What did we just do? A persimmon.
Persimmon. I love persimmon. I told you about that.
We took the runoff of a barley wine that we were doing and then put persimmons in it. And I don't think it's ready yet. I think it's still carbonating. But super excited about that. Thank you, ladies. This was a lot of fun.
Yes, thanks for having us.
We will definitely have to do it again sometime. And we're definitely going to have to come to each other's events. I'm pretty excited. About some of the things you talked about. Mm-hmm. I know. I was going to say, I know I've got a bunch of bottles hiding in the deep corner of my closet that would be fun for that bottle exchange that people would get feisty over, I'm sure. Thank you guys once again for listening. Make sure to subscribe to us on Spotify and YouTube. We're also on Podbean. And thank you to the Journey into Comics Network for hosting us. We will see you next time on Brews with Dudes.